Yes! Finally! Happy April Fool's, dickheads. We got a new experimental patch. I'm here to show you what's new. Let's get into it. As an overview, there are 32 changes. That's the entire cast. Everyone has been buffed. Casting Nano will now also Nano Anna. Coach Gun doesn't push enemies away, does more damage, can headshot, and has a lower spread. Direct hits with Biotic Launcher heal for 33% more health. Immortality Field now reduces incoming damage by 50%, and it has a lower cooldown. Bastion's body is now 15% smaller, and his gun while walking around has no weapon spread. Brig's shield bash cooldown resets if you hit a whip shot. If you're baby D.Va and you call your mech, it now does 600 damage to whoever it lands on, and it's 30% cheaper. Rocket Punch can now travel upwards. Echo's duplicate now lasts twice as long.
Adaptive circuits engaged. D.va.
Deflect now resets its cooldown after you kill somebody. Storm arrows now ricochet off the environment. Junkrat can have 3 traps active at the same time. They have a 3-second lower cooldown as well. Amp It Up now makes Boop stronger. Headshots with McCree's revolver now refund 1 ammo, and his ult has more tumbleweeds. Mei has been turned into a tank. She's got 150 more health and is 15% bigger. Guardian Angel can now target enemies. Moira's right click now has 25 more damage per second but has 5 less range. And Biotic Orb's cooldown gets reduced by 1 second for every 100 health you heal with your left click. Orisa now runs forward 40% faster. Pharah's concussive blast cooldown has been lowered by 3 seconds, and she can now move while ulting. Reaper's teleport now casts 0.5 seconds faster, and Reaper can now fly while using his shift. Reinhardt's charge now has 200% more power steering. Roadhog's hook now gets 50% of its cooldown refunded if you land a hook. Sigma is no longer bound by gravity and has no shield. His shift cooldown has been reduced by 4 seconds. Soldier's sprint now generates 6 ammo per second, and tactical visor now targets heads.
I've got you in my sights.
Sombra's stealth changes are redacted. Symmetra's beam is now 4 meters longer. Torb's hammer does 200% more damage while he's using Overload, and Overload's duration is increased by 2 seconds for every kill he gets with his hammer while using it.
I'm overloading. If you're on something,
Recall now restores all your blink charges. Widow's SMG now has 30% less spread and 2 more damage per bullet, and scoped shots now pierce enemies. Winston's shield now gives Winston ult charge when it's being damaged, and Primal Rage now does 50 more damage per punch and 40% more knockback.
this will protect us.
Ball's cooldowns have all been reduced by 3 seconds. You cannot leave ball form, and the damage of rolling has been increased by 10. Both of Zarya's bubbles are now on a shared cooldown with 2 charges. Zen can now levitate for 3 seconds by holding jump. Alright, there is a lot to talk about, so I'm going to divide up the meme changes from what we could consider to be serious. Some of these are a little in between, so to be safe, I'm putting those in the serious section, and if you check the timeline of this video, you'll see them divided up there. Right, so I want to preface all of this with a comment about the fact that a lot of these changes actually seem like things that might go live in Overwatch 2, or specifically for Overwatch 2's PvE. Things like the McCree headshot ammo refund, Zarya's bubble charges, Widow's SMG changes, and piercing shots. All of that seems like stuff that would be really good for PvE. It's also important to say that it's not really like Blizzard recently to just put all this stuff out. I honestly think a good amount of these changes are actually coming from somewhere that they already exist. It is possible. So even though a lot of these look like meme changes, I wouldn't be too quick to do away with all of these because the game is going to change in a huge way in a year or so. So for more serious stuff, I actually want to look at Ashe first. I think Coach Gun's mobility is enough without knocking enemies back anyway. I think that's a good change. I've always had the opinion that Ashe has a very overloaded kit. She can do a lot. I do think this change is probably too strong. She's a very strong and competent sniper, and her hipfire is also really good. I would be interested to see if this change went through and they took away the vertical mobility aspect of it, so I'm 50-50 about this one. The BAP change is something I really think may actually go live. A lot of higher ranked players are having issues with immortality field, and personally I like the idea of being at a more high aggression tool that you don't have to hold onto forever. It is strong, but in a way it kind of sucks to have one of your big cooldowns just be your ult that you have to hold onto a whole lot of the time. And the changes to your right click still give you a good amount of power for saving your team from a huge grav, basically. I consider the Bastion changes to not be memey enough. His primary fire is a literal laser beam at the moment, but I actually think reducing his size is pretty okay. D.va I'm taking seriously because this doesn't really do a whole lot to the hero. There are very few cases when you can actually land your mech on somebody, and I love the philosophy behind getting rid of stalling a baby D.va. I think everyone can agree that it is kind of a crappy mechanic. It's one of those exploitative things that just go around respawn times, and it completely disrupts the flow of the game. It would be sick to see a 6-man grav mech kill though. Okay, the Mei changes. Look, I am of a strong opinion that it's not going to happen, but I consider this to be semi-serious because Mei is a hybrid tank. There's been loads of discussion and content out there about making her into a tank. People have even run workshop lobbies where she has these changes in them already. So it's clearly something that Blizzard has noticed and caught onto. And well, finally they're experimenting themselves with it. I think the Moira changes are really in-depth and considered, so I'd take these seriously. They've tried so many times to try out new things with the experimental cards on Moira, and you know they're doing it for the sequel. I'm a huge fan of the creativity as well. Despite the biotic orb change being insanely strong, I love the idea behind incentivizing you to heal and DPS, which is what she does, and it's a lot more engaging. I'm taking the Orisa change seriously, even though it is just funny, because I don't really think it's that strong, and I'm of the opinion that Orisa needs these weird sort of quirky mechanics to make her stand out. I think that something like this is actually pretty cool for the hero and helping her move up and take space in between her shields and cooldowns. So the Pharah changes, I honestly think Concussive Blast is a really underrated ability, so this likely isn't going through. I'm not sure about the ult change though. You don't actually move that fast, and as an ult, Barrage isn't really that strong, so this may even go through. The Symmetra one I'd keep an eye on. It seems like a basic change, but it actually feels incredible. It's a huge difference in terms of not being in a tank's face. Don't underestimate this one, it may not go through. The Zarya change as well is super strong and can't be underestimated. Can you imagine a Doomfist diving into your team with 2 bubbles? This definitely looks like an Overwatch 2 change to me. It's probably just too strong. Alright, so everything that I consider to be a meme change. The Ana change, look, she's got a great skill ceiling, an insane amount of power in her sleep and anti-nade, and is widely considered to be in a good spot. She also does crazy damage when she's nanoed herself. This isn't necessary. The Brig change is busted. I don't think it needs a whole lot of explaining. The hero, in my opinion, sort of exists in the game a lot like Zen now. She'll sort of fall in and out of meta, but doesn't really need tweaks. She needs an overhaul. The Doomfist change, look, I really like it, but I think a lot of consideration has gone into Doomfist and his counters, and this does away with a lot of that. It'd be ridiculous to just punch Pharah's Echoes and Mercies just out of the sky. Not to say that I wouldn't like it, but it's also hard to say if it's too strong, even though Doom himself isn't that strong at the moment. For the Echo change, just please no, I don't want to get D.va bombed 10 times in one fight. Look, I love Echo's ult, and I think it's a really cool part of the game. I wish it was on a different hero because Echo's already such a good DPS that they just can't make it more fun, interactive, or a little bit better. The Genji change could potentially be a nightmare. Look, with Hanzo, it's nice to see the Scatter Arrow sort of come back. That was a really unique part about him, but Storm Arrow already got buffed a couple patches ago unnecessarily, and we're not going to see this live. Junkrat, look, this is a meme. The game is filled with fun and dynamic characters, and it's one of those tilting things to get sucked into a trap. That is all. The Lucio change is really busted. Enemies literally go flying with this. I do not want to play Ilios enough as it is. The McCree change I actually really like. I think the refunding ammo mechanic is really fun. It's just impressive as hell. Mercy change, just envision how much feeding would go on with this change live. The Reaper changes for the teleport I actually like and would love to see live. Being able to fly in your shift is just way too forgiving. The Hog change is undeniably busted. This is total mayhem levels of cooldown. The Rein change is just... like, this is just a meme. Turn rate stuff might actually be things you'll see in PvE for Reinhardt in Overwatch 2. Look, you can loop around objects and charge people in the back. It's not very practical. It's just ridiculous. The Sigma change, honestly, I love it. Flying is fun. If they're getting rid of a shield, it's probably happening in Overwatch 2, but I am really hopeful that a strong rework like this will come for Sigma. For Soldier, the sprint change is so minor, but I doubt it will go through. It feels like a very PvE mechanic, and Visor is terrifying with the headshots. Sombra's already good right now. This change really just helps when people are spy checking at a distance and for getting you through chokes so you don't have to waste a cooldown basically. I doubt it's going through. The Torb change is great fun. It does feel like one of those PvE things again. Since Torb is already a good consistent DPS, I think opening this up for compatibility with Rein and Lucio is probably something we don't want. The Tracer change is just broken. The Widow changes are definitely more PvE stuff we'll see in Overwatch 2. I doubt any of these are going live for the game now. Widow has rightfully received quite a few nerfs. Winston's change is way too strong. He's already been buffed quite a bit recently, and the shield into ult mechanic is likely something that we won't see live in this game, probably in the sequel. It's exciting to see though. The ball change is a complete meme. Like, even in the comments you see they're just like, okay, we'll just buff him for fun. And the Zen change is not happening. He hasn't had mobility for the entire game for good reason. Anyway guys, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. This video has been a nightmare to put together today. There was a lot of recording and failed recordings to go through. If you found it helpful or insightful or anything like that, please drop me a like and subscribe. Talk about it in the comments with me. I read all of them, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.